Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Joe Killinger here. We're going to keep on going down the path of tips for first-time real estate investors. And for that, I'm getting into a tricky subject here, so I had to bring somebody in that's a little smarter than I am, or a lot smarter than I am. But because we're going to touch on depreciation. And for that, I reached out to George Pino of Commercial Brokers International. George, thank you for coming in today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's. I understand you know a lot about depreciation, so I just think it's something that every newer investor should take. Actually, in every experience, there's things changing in the market. So, so let's just dive right into it. Is there a difference between depreciation on residential as compared to commercial properties?
Well, there used to be, and in fact, a lot of people still think that there is. What happened this past year, though, to stimulate investment within commercial properties, the IRS changed the regulations. In the past, tricky devils, but you know, it actually has been a boon for a lot of commercial investments because in the past, you were only able to depreciate your assets, commercial assets, for over a 39-year period, while the residential assets could be depreciated over a 27.5-year basis. And the changes this year basically brought all real property depreciation schedules down to a 25-year straight line depreciation.
Oh, okay.
So it's a huge boon for commercial investments. Simplified everything across the board. Not as big of a change for residential, but still a little bit.
Right.
And but a huge benefit for commercial investments.
Okay, so you know, every investor is, you know, they're looking at all aspects of this, that are doing their due diligence in buying their first investment property. What's your opinion on why this is so important for every investor?
Well, you know, for depreciation, what I love about depreciation is that it is an opportunity for you to offset your income that the property is generating. You know, obviously talk to your CPA or your tax professional about this. However, you know, if you have a just straight line depreciation, you can offset your income dramatically, and it basically is putting additional income in your pocket for the future. Also, when you look at it in the sense of depreciation and for tax benefits, if you're in a higher tax bracket, you're exchanging that income tax that you would pay on the income of the property into more of a capital gains tax or depreciation recapture tax, which is typically a lower basis if you're self-employed at a higher tax bracket. So already, even when it comes time to sell the property and you have to go that route, if you decide to go that route, you're already saving money.
Okay, well, obviously I love in my investments to increase my income as much as I can. How do you, let me ask this, how do you increase your depreciation? How do you get more depreciation?
You know,
are there steps you can take?
Absolutely. Now, there's a couple things that you want to take into consideration when you're looking at your depreciation of your real estate asset. And you know, typically most people they do a straight line depreciation, and you have to realize that you're also depreciating only the building because IRS typically doesn't allow for depreciation of land because land doesn't depreciate. Now, what you can do is look for opportunities where the property, especially if it's a commercial property like a single tenant triple net, where the value is based on the building and the tenant as opposed to the land value. So you're going to have a higher basis for your depreciation. That's one way to take a look at it. So all properties are not necessarily created equal.
Right.
The other way of doing that is also doing a cost segregation analysis, and that's where you hire a third-party company that comes out and they segregate the costs of all the components of the building, whether it's the roof, all the way down to light switches. And you know, they determine the life.
There's very detailed.
Absolutely, and you know, they determine the life of all of it,
right.
And they determine the cost of that, and then they segregate that so that you can depreciate it much quicker, and so you have a lot more benefit up front.
Okay.
That then goes into what happens when you depreciate all of your asset or your down to your basis. Well, you know, there's a couple of fun little rules in the IRS code.
Imagine
and
that.
Absolutely, and you know, a 1031 exchange is a perfect opportunity to be able to increase your basis of your property. And
so sell your current property and
sell your current property, and then you have to buy something that's going to be a little bit higher in price to
Okay.
increase your basis. If you purchase something that's kind of the same price, you're not really increasing any
That's
basis.
a nice little move.
So absolutely, but then, so even if with the loan, if you decide to get a loan, the property returns the same amount of money, and
Mhm.
but you now have more depreciation, so you're actually making more money in your pocket right away.
I like that. That's a
So-
great tip.
Absolutely.
What types of depreciation do you see are the most common?
Well, the most common is the easiest, which is kind of a straight line depreciation, and that's
Okay.
essentially going into the building, determining what the building is worth versus the land value, and dividing it by the number of years, such as, well, now it's really easy, 25 years.
Okay. And that's what you use on your investments.
That is typically what we use in our investments. If we're looking for a longer hold strategy, we may go into the cost segregation analysis. The cost to do a cost segregation analysis typically pays for itself within the first 3-4 years.
It's expensive then.
It can be expensive.
Well,
Depends on the type of property. You know, if you're
Okay.
looking at an apartment building that's 100 units, they're going to go through every single unit and break down everything. If it's a straight commercial building that's a single tenant, triple net, it
Oh.
won't be as expensive.
Yeah. Easy
So-
to do. Okay. Well, thank you very much,
Mhm.
George. That was a lot of great information. So keep checking in with us. Actually, just go down and subscribe, please. And we're going to put these videos out every week like we've been doing. And thank you for checking in. Thank you.
Thank you.